Today I'm making
bog blasters,
or, as the hyacinth bouquet in me prefers to call them, lavatory lava. We only need a few ingredients. We need some bicarbonate of soda, some citric acid, a bit of cream of tartar. I'm also going to be putting in SLSA and some lemon essential oil. So let's get cracking. We're going to keep it simple, so there's no weighing involved. We're just using measures. So in here, I have a cup of bicarbonate of soda. Into my bicarbonate of soda, I'm going to add, this is just a dessert spoon. I'm adding a dessert spoon where it's heaped of cream of tartar because we do want our toilet bombs to be hard, and to encourage a little bit of foam, I'm also adding a level dessert spoon of SLSA powder. And I'm going to give this a mix through, just with the spoon. Okay, so I'd like the scent of these to be fairly strong. It is a toilet after all, so I'm going to add, I think, 20 drops of lemon essential oil. There we go. I'm going to give that mix round. And then into this, I'm going to add just 1 dessert spoon of water. Just going to sprinkle that around. And I am going to have to take this somewhere else to mix it because this work counter is too high up for me and the bowl's a bit too deep for me to get into it comfortably to really get in there with my hands. So I'll take this off to mix and be back in 2 ticks. So I've given this a bit of a mix and I'm looking for a consistency that when I grab a handful, and I'm not pressing that very tightly, I want it to just stay intact. So it just needs to be slightly wet. I've got a feeling I just need to add a tiny little bit more water to that. So I'm going to add half a teaspoon of water. Okay, so here I've got about half a teaspoon of water. Sprinkle that in and give it another little mix up. That tiny bit of extra water has done the trick, so now we're ready to add our citric acid, and we're going to put in half a cup of citric acid. There we go. I'm going to give this a really thorough mix round. Once we add the citric acid in, it's got that potential to start activating. So we want to get this into the mould as quickly as possible and get it somewhere where there isn't a humid atmosphere. I have a dehumidifier. I understand a lot of people won't have, so put it somewhere dry to dry out. Nowhere near an open window or anything like that. Okay, so that's mixed in. Let's start putting it into our moulds, and I'm going to use a teaspoon, I think, to begin with. Basically, these are like bath bombs for your toilet, but without lots of extra luxe ingredients in there. It's just a toilet. Don't need to treat it like royalty. So the addition of the SLSA is to help it bubble up, so it'll bring the cleaning agents, which are the citric acid and bicarbonate of soda, up the side of the toilet, and the lemons there just to make it smell nice. You could use anything that you like for that. I've just done a few here, so I'm going to I want these to be quite firmly pressed down into this mould. I want them to be really nice and solid so that they take a little while to dissolve in the loo. I'm just pressing those down with my hand. If you haven't got a mould like this, and there's no reason you should use this type of mould, you could make them in muffin tins or Yorkshire pudding tins. You know, they'll clean out, it'll be perfectly fine. So I'm just going to carry on filling these up until I'm done. Right, we've filled our mould and I have pressed these very, very firmly down. I've got a little bit of mixture left over, so I'm going to make some more because I have more than one of these moulds. And then once these have dried out and got really, really hard, I'm going to test one for you. Right, I'm back with our toilet bombs. These have been drying for a few hours. I'm going to leave these to dry out for a little bit longer, and what I like to do is actually just pop them out of the mould and put them in so that the other side dries too. You could just leave them out on a tray or a tile like I have here, so that they're getting dried all the way around. I'm just going to pop those in the other way around just for now. So I'm just going to put those out of the way. And what I've got here is still a little bit soft. It's holding together nicely. That's why we put the cream of tartar in there. So what I've got here is the toilet bomb that I'm going to test. Now I'm going to show you this. So this looks like some kind of weird mushroom, toadstool, and this is what happens if you put too much water in or too much liquid. And this is a failed batch that I was just experimenting with. I just added an extra ingredient in there that was a bit too liquidy, and it activated the citric acid, which is why it looks like that, because it expands and ends up looking like a muffin. Okay, so I thought the bowl that I usually use to demo in is a little bit too big, and I wanted something that's going to emulate a toilet bowl. I wasn't going to show you it down my own toilet because that's rather unseemly. So I thought I'd use this jug. Now, I don't know if there's more water than that in the actual toilet bowl, but that's going to be our toilet bowl for this test. Now, bath bombs and toilet bombs, seeing as they're very much the same thing, they fizz faster in warm water, but obviously the water in your toilet bowl is cold. So this is cold water. So let's plop this in and see how it goes. When you're using one of these, you can just let it do all the work for you. As long as your toilet's fairly clean, if you use these regularly, you'll hardly have to use any elbow grease to get your toilet clean. Obviously the foam is very unlikely to get right to the rim, but look at that foam there. These are absolutely great. They're great. I use them all the time. And I can tell when I run out. If I run out and don't put one in for a few days, I can really notice the difference. And they're so cheap to make and so easy to make. Why spend a fortune at the supermarket? Look at all those bubbles. So I'm going to leave it there. I'll love you and leave you, and see you later. Bye.